All right, let's get right into it. On November 21st, 2025, EASA dropped a critical safety update for the entire Airbus A320 family. It's Airworthiness Directive 2025-0258, and it's a mandatory one. This is all about a potential failure of the nose landing gear. And in this briefing, we're going to break down exactly what that means for you, whether you're in operations, maintenance, or management. So here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with a quick overview, then dig into the unsafe condition itself. After that, we'll cover exactly which aircraft are affected, what actions you need to take, the operational impact, and finally, a checklist to make sure you've got all your bases covered. Okay, so first things first. What's the big picture here? What is this directive really all about? At its heart, this isn't about wear and tear or in-service fatigue. This is a manufacturing defect, plain and simple. The problem happened during the production of a specific batch of nose landing gear sliding tubes, which means this isn't optional. Compliance is absolutely mandatory for continued airworthiness. All right, now let's get to the real nitty-gritty, the unsafe condition. Understanding the why is so important for getting a handle on the what we need to do. This whole thing boils down to one specific component, the nose landing gear sliding tube with this exact part number. Now, the AD has a whole list of serial numbers, so your absolute first job is to check your inventory, check your aircraft, and see if you have any of these parts. The way this failure happened is actually pretty interesting. It all starts with an overheat event during the chrome grinding part of manufacturing. And we're not talking about a surface issue. This led to widespread cracks in the base metal. The big worry? Those cracks could spread through the entire sliding tube while the plane is in service. And EASA doesn't mince words. The bottom line, and I'm quoting directly from the directive here, is that this could result in an NLG failure. I mean, that's as serious as it gets. The severity of that potential outcome is what's driving this entire directive. Okay, so the million-dollar question. Which aircraft are we talking about here? Let's dive into who's affected. Yeah, this one casts a wide net. It covers the entire A320 family, the 318, 319, 320, and the 321. And it's for all manufacturers' serial numbers. So what that really means is you can't just assume your fleet is in the clear. You have to check. Now, to make things a bit easier, the directive splits the entire fleet into two categories. Group 1 aircraft are the ones that are confirmed to have an affected part installed. These are your top priority. Then there's Group 2, which is basically everyone else. For them, it's all about prevention. From this point forward, you are absolutely prohibited from installing an affected part on any aircraft. Period. All right, let's talk action. This next part is for all the camo and maintenance folks out there. What do you actually need to do? The deadline for this isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. It's all based on how many flight cycles the part has. For the older parts, the ones with over 12,000 cycles, you've got a tight window, just 4 months. For the midlife parts, that extends out to 8 months. And for the newer ones, 8,000 cycles or less, you have up to a full year. And the process itself is a pretty clear 3-step workflow. First, you perform the special detailed inspection, following the Airbus Alert Operator's transmission to the letter. Second, you analyze the findings. And third, this is the crucial one, you have to act before that aircraft's next flight. If you find any discrepancy at all, the part must be replaced. If it passes inspection, it gets re-identified with MPI to certify it's been checked and cleared. Okay, let's shift gears. We've talked technical, now let's talk business. What does all this mean for planning, for logistics, and yeah, for the bottom line? For anyone in management, these phased deadlines mean fleet planning is everything right now. You can't inspect every aircraft at once. You've got to prioritize those high-cycle aircraft first to meet that tight 4-month deadline, all without disrupting your entire operation. It's a real balancing act. And let's be real, the business impacts here are pretty significant. You're looking at potential aircraft on ground time, especially for placements are needed. This requires a major logistical effort to plan a fleet-wide campaign, and critically, your supply chain needs to be aware that installing any affected spare part is now prohibited, which means your inventory management has to be on point. So let's bring it all together with a clear call to action. What do you need to do right now? Here's your checklist. First, identify your Group 1 aircraft immediately. Second, get those inspections scheduled based on those tiered deadlines. Third, get everyone talking. This isn't just a maintenance task. It requires seamless coordination across camo, planning, and supply chain. And finally, make sure your technicians on the ground are fully briefed on the specific procedures in that Airbus AOT.